All right, we're here with our kitchen couples, Mike and Diane Clemens and Dan and Danielle McCauley. And that was some great teaching by Jimmy Evans. You know, we all have these deepest needs. Only God can meet: acceptance, identity, security, and purpose. And it's kind of eye-opening to think that, you know, if we don't depend on God to meet those needs, we kind of transfer that onto our spouse, and it's kind of setting them up for failure.
You know what, as a woman, girls, I find it's automatic for me to kind of gauge my sense of acceptance by the mood of my husband.
Right.
If he's happy and everything's fine, I think, okay, I'm doing okay, everything's good, you know. But if he's having a bad mood, or if he's going through a rough patch or whatever, then all of a sudden my world is shaking. He's, you know what, he is steady Eddie Rock at Gibraltar, but every once in a while there's yeah.
You mean I'm human?
Okay, sorry, I just want to clarify. I've never witnessed it.
I know. Stick around, stick around. Yeah. But I mean, for us girls, isn't it easy?
It can affect your self-image.
It can affect our self-image.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It was very eye-opening for me, that word eye-opening, when I was listening to Jimmy, thinking back to the times that I accused Dan of not meeting my needs. If I'm really honest, those were times that I wasn't in real intimate relationship with the Lord, and I was looking for Dan to fill that void, that gap between me and God, and he can't, because he's not God.
Yeah,
you said something a second ago about we set ourselves up for failure when we do that. And sometimes I'll travel and I'll do some couples events, and during that we'll do a montage of love songs over the years. And as I look at all these love songs, these big declarations of this misshapen understanding of what love should be. These are too big of things to actually put on a person. And so you have people sing, "How am I supposed to live without you?" And like,
sounds codependent.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. But that's what so much of our culture understands love to be, and it's misplaced.
That's a good point.
I know for me, with Mike traveling and playing football early in our marriage, I had that. Just what didn't feel secure, right? Because he was always on the road, and I was at home, and I felt like I was blaming him for me being miserable, right? And it was until I became sure of who I was, and I realized that, you know, I needed to strengthen and spend that time when he was on the road in my Bible and reading the Word and just being grounded. It was until then that I realized, okay, you know what, I'm good.
That's your
You know,
identity.
he doesn't have to, you know, I can't live through his eyes or what he's doing. I have to be my own person, right? And I know as women, a lot of times we feel like we have to depend on our husbands for everything, but we have to be secure with who we are, and we find that through Jesus Christ.
That's it.
I think the health of the relationship is really based on that. I would often say that I love Diane, I love my bride. I mean, I truly love her, but I don't need her. And the fact is, if I need her, she's only a crutch, right? So it is actually the fact that I don't need her and I volitionally commit all that I am to her that actually makes it love.
That's good. That's good, Mike.
That's really good.
Remember the movie Jerry Maguire? Okay, Tom Cruise. Well, what was the famous line in there?
You complete me.
Okay, that's the one. I thought you were going to say, "Show me the money," but no.
What was that? You had me at hello. There were several.
Yeah. So Tom, you know, he's looking across the room there, and all those ladies are in the room, and he looks at, who is the actress?
Renee
Zellweger.
Yeah.
Looks at her, and he says those famous lines, "You complete me," and all the women in the room go, "Oh."
Just butter. Just butter. Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, I think it's in Colossians in the Bible where God says, "You are complete in me," or "We're complete in Him."
Right,
the Apostle Paul says, and so it doesn't matter if you're single.
Right.
You can be ever as much fulfilled in life because we're complete in Him. We don't need, as you said, like someone, you know, to complete me. And a lot of times, you know, in life, when people tell their stories, like maybe it's their story of faith and God, they use a term like there was something missing. There was like an emptiness. And it probably goes back to one of those four deepest needs only God can meet: acceptance, identity, security, and purpose. There was something missing, and they need to depend on God to meet those needs.
I like that. So we are don't go anywhere, because when we come back to the kitchen, we've been talking about needs only God can meet, but there are certain needs that men and women have that we need to identify so that we can make a better us. Okay? So join us. Come back.
the security that she's looking for is the will you still marry me? Again, do you love me? And if your time and effort looks like it's all elsewhere, in her eyes, the money doesn't matter at that point.